Okay, today we are learning about law of cosines, and we use law of cosines when we can't use law of sines. As you can see from these formulas, law of cosines is a little more difficult than law of cosines. Than law of sines. And it's not really more difficult, it's just the formula is more difficult. So these are all really the same formula, they just are dependent upon which angle you're looking at. This would be looking at angle A, angle B, and angle C. So it's dependent on which angle you're given. And if you're not given an angle, then you can use any one. So in this first one, number 1, angle C is 42 degrees, side A is 11, and side B is 17. So when we're choosing which one of these three formulas to choose, we're going to choose the one that has angle C, which is this one. So setting this up, we would have C squared is equal to A squared, which would be 11 squared, plus B squared, which would be 17 squared, minus 2 times A, which is 11, times B, which is 17, times the cosine of 42 degrees. And you can literally just put all of this in your calculator, and that'll give you C squared is equal to 132.06. And then you would just take the square root of both sides, and that gives you C is equal to 11.5. Okay, next we would need to find our angle, so let's find angle A next. So to find angle A, then we're going to use this formula. So we'll have A squared, which is 11 squared, is equal to B squared, which is 17 squared, plus C squared, which is 11.5 squared, minus 2 times B, which is 17, times C, which is 11.5, times the cosine of A. Okay, and then what we would do is we would subtract the 17 squared and the 11.5 squared from both sides. And then we would multiply negative 2 times 17 times 11 and a half, and that gives us negative 300.25 is equal to negative 391 cosine of A. And then we would divide both sides by negative 391. And that leaves us with cosine of A is equal to 0.78. And we're looking for an angle. And remember, when we're looking for an angle, we do cosine inverse. So the measure of angle A is equal to cosine inverse of 0.78, which gives us 39.8 degrees. And then to find angle B, we would just add 39, or from 180, we would subtract 39.8 degrees, and then we would subtract 42 degrees. That would give us 98.2 degrees for angle B. Okay, let's look at number 3. On number 3, we are given A is 8, C is 5, B is 8 degrees. Since we know angle B, we're going to use the second formula. So that would be B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2 times A times C times the cosine of 8. Okay, if you put all of this in your calculator, that'll give you B squared is equal to 9.78, and then that gives you, after taking the square root of both sides, B is 3.1. Okay, then we have to solve for another angle. I'm going to go with angle A. So here to solve, that's going to be, we're going to use, since we're looking for angle A, we're going to use this formula. So that's 8 squared is equal to 3.1 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 3.1 times 5 times the cosine of A. Again, we're going to subtract 3.1 squared and we're going to subtract 5 squared from both sides. And that gives us 29.39 is equal to negative 49.6 cosine of A. I got negative 49.6 by multiplying negative 2, 3.1, and 5. Now we're going to get cosine of A by itself, so we're going to divide both sides by negative 496 of 49.6. And that gives us cosine of A is equal to negative 0.59. And then we're just going to find the measure of angle A, we're going to take the cosine inverse of negative 0.59, and that gives us 126.34. Or we could just say 126.3 degrees. And then after we subtract 126.3 and 8 from 180, we get 45.7 degrees for angle C. Okay, let me move this 1 second. Okay, let's do one more. All right, let's look at number 5. On number 5, we're given 3 side lengths. So it doesn't matter which of the 3 formulas we use. So A is 4, B is 10, C is 7. So to find angle A, we would say 4 squared is equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2 times B times C times the cosine of A. Okay, after you subtracted 10 squared and 7 squared and divided here and found the cosine, you would get the measure of angle A. So we're going to do the same thing here as we did in the last problem. The measure of angle A is equal to 18.2 degrees. And then we would have to repeat this process to find angle B. So we're going to use the second formula, which would be 10 squared is equal to 4 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 4 times 7 times the cosine of B. And that would give us the measure of angle B to be 128.7 degrees. And the measure of angle C after subtracting 18.2 and 128.7 from 180, we'll get 33.1 degrees. Okay, your homework for tonight is going to be 2, 4, 6. So your homework is number 2, 4, and 6. This is all we're learning. Tomorrow we'll review. You'll do a review on Thursday, and your last quiz is this Friday.